think it is important as citizens of the earth that we understand that the God of this world, worshipped by the power elite, the powers that should not be, is a spirit. It is not a planet. It is not a mother goddess, nor is it a sun god. However, planets, mother goddess figures, and sun god figures are symbols that are used to hide Luciferian worship in plain sight. Period. We find these things in a variety of the signs and symbols that are all around us, but most of us have been made spiritually blind and unable to see the reality that is beyond the physical and material realm. They achieve creating a mass blindness over people in this way through distractions, through diversions, through speaking in symbols and code that is only distinctly understood by members of a secret brotherhood and by those who have been for years researching and studying and attempting to decode these signs and symbols in a way that can be clearly understood for any listener. Saturn is associated with the same things that we always find constantly when we observe the signs and symbols of the so-called power elite. Transformation, this idea of Freemasonic alchemy, not the alchemy of turning base metals into gold, but the alchemy of turning basic men or base men into basic gods or base gods. This idea is often symbolized by the use of celestial symbolism, but it's most often symbolized through the use of mother goddess symbolism and sun god symbolism. Interestingly, both the mother goddess and the sun god are esoterically linked to various planets. Because witchcraft is a ball of confusion, and the devil is the author of confusion and the father of lies, you'll find a lot of so-called esoteric facts and occult ideas that seem to contradict one another, such as the idea that Taurus, associated with the queen mother goddess, but is a bull, and a bull is a male bovine, and other things such as this. So sometimes you will find Taurus associated with the queen mother goddess and earth, or the queen mother goddess and the color green. So where do these symbols come from? We know they come from ancient cultures and forgotten civilizations, but what you need to know is that these beings who need to use symbols of the ram or symbols of the bull or symbols of the owl or symbols of Saturn or symbols of the mother goddess or symbols of the sun god or of the sky god or of the sky goddess or of the sun mother, sometimes they mix it up. You have to understand that these beings, these are the fallen angels, and they taught men these things. They gave men these symbols. Men then inscribe these symbols in tablets. They write them on parchment. They put them on scrolls, on cave walls. And it is these beings who had the understanding of sacred geometry, who had the understanding of mysticism and how to open up portals and gates. That's all mysticism is really all about. How to open up portals and gates to let them back in here. And they need man to voluntarily do it, even if he's doing it out of his own ignorance, even if he's doing it out of his own rebellion, even if he's doing it because of his stupidity through academia and scholastica and theologians teaching him that, hey, there is no true and living God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There is no Messiah. There are no fallen angels. This is just what was here from long ago. But where did it come from? The Dogon tribe said they were taught everything that they knew about agriculture, about their history, about astronomy. They were taught everything by the beings that they called their gods and goddesses. Same thing with the Sumerians. They said they were taught everything by the Anunnaki. These beings, represented again by Prometheus, who again brought down fire to man, is analogous of this same idea. These beings teaching mankind, you find it in the book of Enoch, teaching mankind their way, called the ancient religions or the ancient Eastern mystic traditions. I don't care if you're talking about India or Africa or the Celts of Europe, whether you're talking about the Druids or whether you're talking about the followers of the Neteru. It does not matter. The same beings, they were equal opportunity destroyers. Yes, they came to certain people first because certain people had civilization first. And the first was the worst. They got it the worst. They got the most direct forms of it. But again, you need to understand that that's the reason for the symbols. The symbols come from these beings who gave you the symbols so that you would turn away from the true and living God, turn toward them out of your own arrogance and rebellion and refusal to submit, and out of your ego wanting to be as God, wanting to be God-like, wanting to be worshipped. All of the things that are like Lucifer, which is why he was able to recruit you, whether you knew it or not. So these beings, again, through their systems, what you call Eastern mystic traditions and mysticism, of course, yes, it's older. They got their first crack at mankind. They came down, however you want to word it, the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came, they came down. And when they came down, or when they presented themselves before men, they not only taught men civilization, but they taught men magic craft. They taught men how to use certain herbs and spices to open themselves up and become human portals to let these spirits back in. They're constantly trying to get man to co-sign with allowing them to come back and take dominion over the earth. Once again, as it was in the days of Noah. And again, people in their rebellion, and also because of, church hurt, being turned away by your Pastor Whiteheads and your Creflo Dollars and your TD Jakes. But you won't be able to stand before the Messiah and use that as your excuse. He's going to ask you, did you study? He's going to ask you, did you research? Did you listen to experts of the subject? Or were you just willing to allow people who were already tickling your fancy and tickling your ears by telling you things that you already wanted to hear? Did you allow for them to feed into your desire to rebelliously do as thou wilt? You are born in sin, shaped in iniquity. Your very flesh cries out and confirms that. Because now that you have an understanding that perhaps you didn't have before, you're still going to choose to make war with the true and living God, and you will lose. A prolific villain must have a variety of disguises. So one more disguise of Lucifer is yet again Kronos. In esoteric and mythological traditions, Kronos, or Saturn, the leader of the Titans in Greek mythology, is deeply symbolic of rebellion and destructive authority. Kronos is infamous for consuming his children to maintain power, a chilling image of tyranny and selfish sacrifice. This parallels the story of the fallen angels from the book of Enoch and Genesis 6, who rebelled against God, introduced corruption to mankind, and perverted divine order for selfish gain. Saturn, often associated with Kronos, has been a central figure in occult and esoteric systems, including the cult of Saturn and the celebration of Saturnalia, a Roman festival known for chaos, debauchery, and inversion of order, the turning of things upside down. Kronos, being a Titan, relates directly to the children or the offspring of the Nephilim, who were the men of renown, the mighty men of old. This is where your myths and your ancient epic tales of part man, part God beings come from. Satan's symbolism is often linked with time, cycles of death. Saturn's symbolism is often linked with time, cycles of death, and sacrifice, because again, Saturn is another analogy or a symbolic representation of Satan, even in its reputation as the most beautiful of planets, many would say, so-called planets. In the esoteric Luciferian or satanic worldview, Saturn embodies the ideas of rebellion, materialism, and sacrifice for self-serving ends. This stands in stark contrast to the Heavenly Father of the Bible, who demonstrated the ultimate act of sacrificial love. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:16. Unlike Kronos, who selfishly devoured his children, the Father gave his Son, Jesus Christ, to save humanity. This selfless sacrifice offers eternal life, exposing the stark difference between the destructive sacrifices of the fallen realm and the redemptive love of God. In the broader context of occult practices, human sacrifice is symbolic of the rebellion seen in Kronos and the fallen angels, taking life in exchange for power or the illusion of it. This dark inversion seeks to mock the Father's pure sacrifice, replacing love and redemption with fear and destruction. And these fallen ones have been attempting to deride Christ even before he began his physical ministry, by coming first to civilization and giving them the writings, the scrolls, the cuneiform, the tablets that would explain their own existence to them. This way the fallen ones could not only siphon worship from the people and be their gods, but then they could teach the people everything that they knew. So the fallen angels gave men forbidden knowledge. And while doing so, they took on names that would blaspheme the names and attributes of the true and living God and his Son, including but not exclusive to Zeus and Krishna.
Well, that sounds good.
So sometimes you will find Taurus associated with the Queen Mother Goddess and Earth, or the Queen Mother Goddess and the color green, or you may find the Queen Mother Goddess associated with blue. For water, you turn the W upside down in the word water and you get mater for mother. This is all the same coded symbolism. It's either depicting Lucifer in his feminine form, if it be Queen Mother Goddess, because again, it's a spirit. This devil that we speak of, this malevolent entity, and his minions, they are spirits. They can affect and present in physical form, but they are spirits in nature. And being made as spirits, they were not provided with the things needed to procreate. So they are truly not what we are. They're not like us in that there's no need for genitalia. There's no need for a womb, an ovum, or any of the other parts that the Most High decided were necessary to bring forth life through conception. This is one of the many mysteries of Genesis 6 and why it was so important for the fallen angels have relations with the sons and the daughters of men. This is an abomination to the Most High God, but it's a way to corrupt creation, which was the intent of the fallen angels, who came to every culture and civilization as the ancestor gods and goddesses of that civilization. Whether they wore drag as the ancestor goddesses, or whether they presented as male as the ancestor gods, these were spirits. And fallen denotes rebellious spirits. The rebellion was against the Most High God, not against the state, not against Pastor Pokechop and the Jive Catholic Church and all of its derivatives, but against the Most High God. So the planet Saturn has been associated with the sun god in various cultures, including Hindu mythology, where Saturn is known as Lord Shani, the son of Suryadev, the sun god. Shani is also known as Chayaputra, because his mother is Chaya, the shadow. In ancient Near Eastern traditions, Saturn was sometimes called the star of Helios, or of Sol, S-O-L, the sun, which is where we get the spell confusion of calling the day star or the luminary that lights the day, the S-U-N, and that has the same sound as what we call a male child, which is a S-O-N. This confusion is on purpose, so that in getting you to worship the true and living God when he made himself manifest as a male child, as a son, they would then cause confusion concerning wanting you to worship Lucifer in his symbolic disguise of the sun. Saturn is a symbolic disguise. Whether he is Mother Earth as the Gaia, that's also a disguise. It doesn't make Earth evil. It doesn't mean that whatever Saturn is evil, because of course we know we're lied to about the celestial bodies. Even in the terminology, there's hints that it's more than just a rock in space or a light, but it is indeed something sentient, a being, a light being, just like we're told in scripture, that even Satan and his angels can transform themselves into ministers of light. The Romans named the planet Saturn after their god of agriculture, who was also the god of time, Kronos. Sacrifice is a big deal within Saturn worship. According to scholars such as Gunther Schorner, who says concerning sacrifices and their representations, that first, while sacrifice to the gods, and again, that was the fallen angels, these spirits, Lucifer and crew, disguising themselves as the deities of old. But he says that while sacrifice to the gods was a necessary element of divine worship everywhere, it was less universally important to represent it iconographically. And second, that the reasons for representing or not representing animal sacrifice may have varied from region to region. Now, what he says about Saturn Stelae in North Africa, the continuity of it and the change concerning it is that he says most known representations, over 2,000 of animal sacrifice, come in the form of reliefs on stelae dedicated to Saturn, only a small proportion of which is inscribed. Animal sacrifice is the kindergarten that one graduates from into human sacrifice. It was explained by Aleister Crowley in the work that we read in one of our last live streams, that in order to gain more power, the more you have to sacrifice. And when we talk about Hollywood, the things that have been sacrificed in Hollywood, aside from people's souls, whether you want to believe that's only proverbially, but the Bible says, what does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Or if you're looking at the way Hollywood presents negative ideas and stereotypes to children through the movies, through the cartoons, through all of the industries that the movie industry feeds, the toys that are made, the mix up with the Wicked doll for children, where they gave you the address to a porn site on the back of this doll that was made for children, yet they tell you it was by mistake. You have to realize that where you live, it's about worshiping this spirit. And it's always been about worshiping this spirit, just in different forms. The worship of this spirit has to be hidden because of the stigma, if you will, that comes along with the taboo of worshiping the devil. People do things that equate to devil worship, and people live lives that equate to Luciferianism. But if you ask them, they will tell you, they will profess with their mouths that, no, I have nothing to do with the devil. I'm a godly person. I'm one of God's children, or God loves me, or my God don't play about me. Devil is as devil does. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the last days. These ancient gods and goddesses want to return. And incrementally, they will be reintroduced. They never truly left. But they want to return to prominence and dominance. And they want their worship back. They've allowed for you to have placeholder idols in your Hollywood stars, the stars, again, the luminaries, these ministers of light, who by and large practice New Age, who by and large blaspheme the name of God, even if it's just, hey, I was just reading what was in the script, who have established an entire community based on that, who not only disrespect your children by the things that they present, but they raise their children up quite oftentimes. And, to say that they raise them is to be generous, but they will allow for their children to be a part of this system, giving their children willingly over to a system that they know is detrimental, ultimately, to not just the mind, but the body and the soul. Because these devils and demons that you will call upon to aid you, once you become a part of the brotherhoods and the sisterhoods or the secret societies, the fraternal orders that exist within the entertainment business, once you allow for those spirits to guide you, or what you assume is guiding you, you're actually making an agreement with those spirits for them to use your body as their vehicle, as a vessel. That's why it's not so good to be open-minded, or like a jar head, or like a jar. Your mind can be opened up and something can be inserted inside. Method acting has become all the rage, not just in Hollywood. But again, this is a tricky and slick way for this spirit to get you to voluntarily check out and allow for something else to take hold of you. And once you make that agreement with the spirit realm, or with the world around you within which the spirit realm exists, whether you want to admit it or not, once you make that agreement, then you are now allowing for certain spirits to be able to, by legal right, enter you. And eventually, in time, they will take over you. They don't just share space with you. And again, these things are often symbolized by the things that we see in plain sight, such as all of the duality things that lots of truthers have showed videos and collages and compilations of over the years. The duality of celebrities calling themselves by another name, the Sasha Fierce Beyonce thing, Nicki Minaj, Roman Zelensky, and the list goes on and on. Jay-Z, Jehovah. When the spirit enters you, what you're told is that this is how you become godlike. Because again, what did we establish? That these spirits were the gods and goddesses of ancient times. And in order to be a king, the divine right of kings is that my bloodline includes gods and goddesses. That means, again, this is where you get the fallen angels and their offspring becoming the men of renown, those whom the ancient mythological tales were written about, the stories of the gods and goddesses of Egypt, the stories in the Illumina Elish, or the stories that were about the Anunnaki of ancient Sumer, or the stories that the Dogon told, that were told to them by the Nomos. All of these beings, again, they went to various people. The stories that the Nordics told about Thor and the Allfather and Odin and all of that. All disguises for these beings, and all ways for these beings to steal worship from the Most High God. Now they have allowed, in order to take over man, they have allowed for men to be placeholders. And they have taken over the vessels of many men. Many of them you see on screen. Many of them you play their music. You wear their t-shirts, you have their posters on your wall. They have become the idols, the gods, the new gods of this age. But this age is passing away. Another thing that Saturn represents is the changing of an age, transformation, the transformative power, supposedly, of Saturn. It's the beauty of Lucifer. Many of the moons are named after Queen Mother goddesses. So here in Saturn, you have both evidence of the sun god symbolism and the moon god symbolism, because again, all three, the moon goddess, the planet Saturn, and the sun god, are all used as symbols of Lucifer worship. It's not worship of Saturn. Again, it was disguised because, again, you can't openly, at least not yet, but we are approaching that time. That's what the New Age is going to be about, where you can openly profess to worship the old gods, or pardon me, to go a step further and say, I worship Lucifer. Much like the man said in the Roger Morneau, A Trip to the Supernatural interview, he said, hey, the guy that Roger Morneau was telling this story about, the guy told Roger, hey, if I want power, I go straight to the source. I'm not like my wife. I don't go to these seances and believe in talking to the dead and dead spirits. And I know that's foolishness. If I want power, I go straight to the source. Lucifer and his angels, they have the power and the dominion here on earth because man gave it to them. And nowhere has that been given to them so blatantly and in God's face as in so-called Hollywood. Now we do understand that everything, that was in Sodom was not a part of Sodomy's wickedness. Everything that was in Gomorrah was not a part of Gomorrah's wickedness. God will send the wicked to execute wickedness upon the wicked as judgment, because there is no wickedness in God. But his aim is precise. Did you challenge the Most High God and call yourself like him? Take his name in vain and use it as profane and mock him in your vanity. You who sneer at repentance and think him to be deaf and blind to your transgressions against the children, your own and the children that you supposedly entertain, that you cause to enter a tame mentality. The judgment upon you is Proverbs 11:2. Now God is not slack. His sword is precise and exact. Lovingly, he whispers and shows his children what, when, where, and how to flee. Red, white, and blue, split decision judgment. Just like the boxing ring, and you heavyweight jamming with the number one jamming champion, the true and living God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, establishing a nation by the Luciferian principles hidden within the symbolism of red for the male or the sun god, white for the false light of Lucifer, and blue for the mother or the mother goddess, has sealed your fate. The three colors have meanings that are deeper and darker than the official explanation will tell, or even that an understanding of vibration will reveal. The red is for the male disguise of Satan as a man, kings, sun gods, Aries, Osiris, fire, the Red Lodge, the West Coast, the left side. The blue is his female identity, or Queen Mother Goddess, the mater, or water, the mater, water with the M inverted. Isis, Taurus, the bringer of life, Mother Earth, Gaia, water, earth. And the white is the false light, Lucifer, so-called. Really Satan, that old serpent, that dragon. So fire will take your western centers. Water and earth will take your eastern centers. And your middle will be in darkness by way of the false light. By the same pit that you dug, you will be ensnared and fall into it. By the same judgment that you gave, by the same measure that you meted out, the same thing will be returned unto you. And as you turn things upside down, and we know everything starts on the right, by your same way of turning things upside down, the Father starting on the left, and he will allow judgment to be brought forth by way of wicked men, as you begin to hear of folks who were paid to start the flames. You will begin to hear more and more about the insurance companies having plots against various actors and or movie studios. Or you will hear about movie studios plotting with insurance companies to come against the actors. Because the snake eats its tail. The Ouroboros is in full effect. So let us be wise and remember to keep our eyes open for the variety of symbols that these devils and their leaders speak through. The variety of signs and symbols that all say the same thing. He's the star of the story that they always tell. They all have to tell it, whether it's in movies like Prometheus or Lucy, or whether it's through cartoons like and toys like the Transformers. They always have to tell the same story. They have to give sympathy for the devil in song or in some other form, but always through the symbology. It's a way of honoring the gods, quote unquote. Again, remember we said they're spirits, but they're honoring the gods that inspired them, the gods that helped them. Remember, they're spirit guides that gave them the idea or gave them the talent or gave them the ability to come up with whatever it is that allowed for them to be rich for the appointed time, because all must pay the piper. Trump is like the Tammuz of New Babylon. He is the man-child, the substitute Christ to lead naive Christians into the new age. He will introduce them to you. He will be used to sell you the lie that they are new, that they have not, he won't admit that they've not come from outer space. He won't tell you that they're the fallen angels, but he will be in on the lie. And that lie will help him to become like a modern day Constantine, if you will. He will help to merge Christianity with the new age pagan ideas that the aliens will tell everyone is the truth. This is the real truth. You new age folks, you guys were advanced. You are ready for the age of Aquarius. You are symbolic of Saturn in that you have that transformative way about you. Saturn represents that transformation. The old towers coming down. The tower of male and female coming down and this new being springing up. The World Trade Towers coming down and the One World Trade Center coming up. This one world idea. It will blend a lot of things together that we once had two of, including the red and blue houses of Freemasonry when they become one house. The Purple Lodge, or representative of the purple reign of Lucifer. When the two become one, there will be no more need for Democrats and Republicans or red and blue states. This will be that era, that time of false peace. And I do believe that the Donald is going to help to usher that in. All the world's a stage. And after the action scenes are completed for the second act of theater, featuring Trump and China and the drones, which is really just a way to incrementally get you used to seeing things in the sky. Some of the drones are likely transformers. Some of the drones are likely advanced technology and military technology that the public's not aware of. But it's always something that, again, is a part of the greater agenda. So if we have to come to the brink of world war in order for them to falsely bring you this false world peace, then perhaps they will say that the drones are from China. Again, this is a lie. The fallen angels are gaslighting you. These devils are gaslighting you and allowing for you to see things that you know cannot be made by human beings. I don't care what the technology is. And if it's supposedly human-made technology, it's because the fallen angels inspired them. But people will begin to see these things more and more up close. Folks will see sightings, folks will see beings, and they will continue to gaslight you. And I think right at the last moment, when they absolutely have to, the UFO disclosure agenda will begin. And then they will, of course, spin it. They won't tell you, hey, these are fallen angels, beings that we've been dealing with, rulers of the world. The Psalms 2 and 2 kings of the earth have been dealing with these beings for millennia. They won't tell you that. They will incrementally get the public to accept the ideas that aliens are here to save us from self-destruction and or other catastrophic impending dooms. They may run the play and say, hey, it's reptilians on the way. We need to get all of the world's armies together so we can fight them. And then they're going to use the Star Wars Defense Initiative and all of the nations of the earth and the United Nations and everything as the world is convinced. But, no man knoweth the day or the time, but fallen angels may have a better idea, because I believe that they're going to try to get men together, get the world together to try to come against the Messiah and the incoming army of angels. Your oaths and works for the wicked will always prove to be in vain. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 5. For you oath takers, For the true and living Messiah said, take no oath. Let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. Because anything further than that, you're going to jam yourself up.
That sounds good.
And so many people who were a part of these societies are now looking at everything that they thought they earned burned.
Come from the matrix.
Cause there's a short in the core and a bug in the system. And it's the flying lion lord of the flies. It's ghetto Morpheus, so listen. Left wing, right wing politics. Too many parasites that survive infernal Fahrenheits. Politicians belong in prison. Professors portray as if they live nice. Quiet, pious lives, but worship angels that fell from the highest heights. And bat-winged vampire types. Lies coerce us with endorsements to force us on their sides. But guys, both wings make the old new age arise. Like the phoenix, a fiery feathered fiend from the back of buck, symbolizing the fourth bride. Just like the towers they struck, cosplaying as Christian or capping, like they love Allah. All the world leaders want world power and serve the god of dollar. They call gods of the abyss. Too bad I cheer, the devil's the prince. This celeb's a assistance process of trying to twist your wits. Consciousness, intelligence, and common sense.
Come from the matrix.
And I said, what's the problem here? What is that green acreage? You know, the soil is unbelievably fertile, but they have no water. I said, so do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. We have the water is cut off upstate, up in the north. You know that? And the water, in order to protect a certain little tiny fish called a smelt, they send millions and millions of gallons of water out to the Pacific Ocean, way up north. Never even gets close to here. And you know, in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, all these rich areas, they want to give you like 38 gallons of water to use. You buy a house for a lot of money and then you're allowed to use 38 gallons of water. But you have no water down here. And the reason you have no water, you have the canals. The reason you have no water is because Gavin Newsom didn't want to do it. I had it all done. I had the Department of Commerce at the time. Believe it or not, they're the ones that rule on this particular issue. So you have millions of gallons of water pouring down from the north with the snow caps in Canada and all pouring down. And they have essentially a very large faucet. And you turn the faucet, and it takes one day to turn it. It's massive. It's as big as the wall of that building right there behind you. And you turn that, and all of that water goes aimlessly into the Pacific. And if they turned it back, all of that water would come right down here and right into Los Angeles. They wouldn't have to have people not use more than 30 gallons and 32 gallons. They want to do that, you know. They're trying to do that. And you have so much water, and all those fields that are right now barren, the farmers would have all the water they needed. And you could revert water up into the hills where you have all the dead forests, where the forests are so brittle. Because no place is like California. I go to Austria. The head of Austria tells me, you know, we have trees that are much more flammable than what you have in California. We never have forest fires because they maintain their forests. And you have all that water that could be used as water, what they call water flow, where where the land would be damp. And you'd stop many of these horrible fires that are costing billions and billions of dollars by the federal government, etc. So one thing I'm going to do for California, vote for me, California. I'm going to give you safety. I'm going to give you a great border. And I'm going to give you more water than almost anybody has. And the farmers up north are going to be able to use 100% of their land, not 1% of their land. And the water is going to come all the way down to Los Angeles. And you're going to have more water than you ever saw. And the smelt is not making it anyway. In fact, they make and grow smelt because it dies all the way up and down the line, and they put stuff that was artificially made. You know that. So you're going to have water in California at a level that you've never seen before. The farmers are going to do great. Those fields are going to be all green instead of 1% green. And maybe even more important, you're not going to have illegal immigrants pouring into your country and killing your family. You're not going to have the problems that you have right now. We're going to lower your taxes. We're going to bring the car industry back because your car industry is gone. We're bringing it back to Detroit at levels that you'll never see again. We'll bring it back to better than it was 30 years ago. But with this group, everything is dead. The automobile industry is dead. The water coming here is dead. And Gavin Newsom is going to sign those papers. And if he doesn't sign those papers, we won't give him money to put out all his fires. And if we don't give him the money to put out his fires, he's got problems. He's a lousy governor. And he treated me very nicely, and I treated him very nicely when I was president. But he's done a lousy job. But there's a case. I said, Gavin, will you sign? It took him like a month and a half or 2 months, and then he decided for political reasons. And then we got hit with COVID, and we had to solve another problem. But you're going to have so much money, Mr. Mayor. You're going to have so much money from economic activity and growth. And you're going to have water like you never thought. Now, in your case, maybe you don't want so much water. But we'll bypass your beautiful area. But we have tremendous amounts, millions of gallons of water that's shoved right into the Pacific Ocean where it doesn't make a dent. And all of that water is going to take care of California. And nobody can make a bigger promise than that. You're not going to have to do desalinization plants, which a lot of people want to do. Very expensive to do, but it's better than the alternative of no water. So California, vote for Trump, and you're going to have water, and you're going to have growth, and you're going to have prosperity, and all those people that are leaving.
Good evening and welcome. I've covered wildfires in California since the earliest days of my career, and I don't remember anything quite like the firestorms raging across Southern California tonight. Multiple major infernos destroying more than 1,000 homes and businesses, killing at least 5 people and defying efforts to contain them. Firefighters in Pacific Palisades outmanned and in some cases out of water, hydrants running dry. Firefighting aircraft were at time grounded by ferocious winds, some gusting around 100 miles per hour. Rows of homes and restaurants along the Pacific Coast Highway were consumed by the flames.
The fires spread eastward. We're a little north of Sunset Boulevard here. We are, I don't know how many hours in we are in on the incident timer for this particular fire. Probably like, it's like 7 p.m. It's been like all day, man. Look at that. The whole field is on fire over here. All the houses here are huge mansions. A lot of big money here. Hopefully everyone gets their cars out and stuff, but it's looking pretty dicey.
It's like a bad, horrific dream.
I'm sorry. Just, one day you're swimming in the pool and the next day it's all gone.
We're so decrepit.
You're gonna be okay.
you know, we've got a huge fire up there. We got huge winds right now. And it's really important for people to help each other. It's really important for everybody to band together. And don't worry about your personal property. Just get out. Get your loved ones and get out. I have friends.
You were so decrepit.
Yeah, that's your best.
This area of Altadena has become an absolute wasteland. You've got rows and rows of homes that have burned. You've got some homes that are still standing, but it's just a matter of time.
Sunset Boulevard, the loss was worse than any fire we've ever seen. And this looks like the apocalypse here.
Pacific Palisades fire growing to nearly 16,000 acres. 40 miles away, the Eaton fire turned deadly and has exploded to over 10,000 acres. Tonight, thousands in the region are under evacuation orders, filling shelters. Schools are closed, while power is out for 1.5 million Southern Californians.
Oh my God. Having said that, yes, let me say this.
Burn, Hollywood, burn! Burn, Hollywood, burn. Burn, Hollywood, burn.
I'm in Hollywood now. I'm finding out most of the shit I thought was real ain't even real. Motherfuckers be gay in Hollywood. You never fucking expected. They be having these big ass mansion parties. And the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party. And then it's a separate party in the little rooms. I ain't been famous that goddamn long. I'm excited in a motherfucker to be at the mansion party. You be looking at all the goddamn rooms and you fuck around and look in the wrong room and shit.
I sincerely hope I shall always be accredited by race and to the motion picture industry. My heart is too full to tell you just how I feel. And may I say thank you.
Excuse me, buddy, but... Excuse me, lady, but... You fooling, ain't you? Where can I be? This ain't America, is it? Oh, Lord, where can I be? This ain't America, is it?
Perfectly black. to the 82nd Golden Globes. You were incredible in Dune. Woke up for all of your scenes. What a year you've had. Glenn. Couch talks and you'll go, oh, that was before the... Moms are holding strong with 3 shout-outs. God, creator of the universe, 0 mentions.
Mocking God and using his name as a cuss word is nothing new for Hollywood. But less than 48 hours after the Golden Globes Blasphemy, Hollywood was on fire.
A new fire has broken out in the Hollywood Hills in Los Angeles, threatening landmarks like the Dolby Theater, where the Oscars ceremony is to be held in just a few weeks.
The fires spread eastward. We're a little north of Sunset Boulevard here. We are, I don't know how many hours in we are in on the incident timer for this particular fire. Probably like, it's like 7 p.m. It's been like all day, man. That whole field is on fire over here. All the houses here are huge mansions. A lot of big money here. Hopefully everyone gets their cars out and stuff, but it's looking pretty dicey.
To the ocean, and there's not a thing we can do about it.
The scene horrific. This is new aerial video of a 6th fire, the Sunset Fire, based in the Hollywood Hills.
Firefighters there doing everything they can, but there simply aren't enough of them to fight the horror that has exploded.
Right now, people are rushing to escape the Hollywood Hills.
Brand new fire exploded down the Hollywood Hills, making a beeline for the iconic heart of the entertainment industry.
It is like driving through hell itself down here. Literally through hell.
Tens of thousands of people have fled for their lives, abandoning their cars when they could go no further.
New fire erupting in the Hollywood Hills, marching toward iconic landmarks. More than 130,000 people were under evacuation orders across Southern California.
Literally grabbed our phones, a computer, and our dogs, and ran out.
The wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA, and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. There's nothing they can do.
So here's a drone shot from the Palisades in LA from earlier today. Looks kind of reminiscent of Gaza, so keep that in mind when we're talking about capitalism and imperialism. 1/10,000th of the horror, still part of the same system. Let's get into it. Here in LA pointed out that $23 million was cut from the LA Fire Department budget, amongst other departments, so they could give the LAPD $138 million increase, underfunded. See what's happening with the Department of Education. So if during a crisis people see that the fire department can't handle it, and the state's paying for it, our tax dollars are paying for it, well, if the government can't do it, privatize it.
Here are the top 7 most dystopian facts about the wildfires in California right now that have burned over 26,000 acres, affected more than 30,000 people, and killed at least 5. Number 1, insurance companies canceled fire coverage for thousands of residents ahead of these fires, so now people who have lost literally everything will get no compensation. Number 2, a huge portion of the first responders are actually prison inmates who will earn $5.80 to $10.24 a day to risk their lives performing literal slave labor.
And this affects all Californians, not just in Southern California. $18 million was cut from the LA Fire Department. $18 million that would diminish the ability to prepare for and respond to large-scale emergencies. That's not strange to nobody. And when the mayor was asked, did this budget cut affect the wildfires that is going on right now? She said, I am confident that it did not.
Well, I want to record this because I'm a rough side on this. We should boycott State Farm for what they did to Californians. And it's canceling their insurance.
I know I'm not supposed to be here, but this is my parents' home.
I know the feeling.
And they just they got canceled from their fire insurance. So they're dealing with this. They're 90 years old. And through the state of California, because of this, they're 90 years old. They've lived in this house for 75 years, and they've had the same insurance, and these insurance people decided to cancel their fire. And we're going through this, and it just happened, and they have no fire insurance.
She does bring up a great point that we should talk a whole lot more about, and that is the fact that so many people are now uninsured.
Having escaped the fires in LA, many people are now realizing they're never going to be able to return home. Why? Because they didn't have insurance and they can't afford to rebuild. And it's a frightening number of people. Over the last few months, over the last few years, insurance companies have been cancelling the cover for hundreds of thousands of people in LA because of the risk of fire. Some people just couldn't find new insurance. Others who did get insurance are paying a lot more, but now realizing they weren't covered for this type of event.
72,000 policies, 30,000 homeowners canceled as of July 3rd. Just in time for the California wildfires, one of the worst in California history, as fire hydrants are struggling to keep water due to reservoir shortages. When asked to comment, Karen Bass couldn't be reached because she was out of the country in Africa on a taxpayer trip for the inauguration of the president of Ghana.
Stranger than fiction. Actor Randy Quaid and his wife arrested in Canada. A warrant was issued for them after they missed a court date in California. Now the couple, though, is refusing to come back to the States, saying they are afraid for their lives.
In September 2010, Randy Quaid and his wife Evie were arrested on theft and burglary charges. The couple was allegedly squatting in a home that did not belong to them.
She claims they are the real owners of the house, and the incident is all part of a larger conspiracy.
I genuinely feel like these people are trying to kill us.
has become an absolute wasteland. This looks like the apocalypse here.
Prolonged drought and those powerful Santa Ana winds set up extreme conditions that have fueled those devastating Los Angeles area wildfires. Conditions compounded by climate change. And today, researchers from NOAA and NASA underline that point, releasing analysis showing that 2024 was the hottest year in recorded history.
Also, police have a man in custody tonight. They have determined that the Kenneth fire was deliberately set. Listen to the LAPD.
What we know right now is that the incident occurred, started here, and about 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, a suspect was detained over in Woodland Hills area by citizens.
So someone purposely set the Kenneth fire?
My mom ran out in her bathrobe ready to fight the guy, and all of the neighbors started coming out, calling 911. We really banded together as a group. A few gentlemen in the neighborhood had detained him.
This is 34-year-old Justin Wayne Holstenberg. He's being charged with setting the massive line fire going on right now in San Bernardino County, and he attempted to set 2 other fires the same day. He faces 9 felony charges, including aggravated arson, and he could face life in prison. The line fire has burned over 37,000 acres and is only 18% contained. It has devastated homes and forced thousands of people to evacuate. Investigators linked Holstenberg to the fires using license plate readers and tips from the public.
I would probably have to think back to the words of a very wise
Prophet Obi-Wan Kenobi, who said, "These aren't the drones you're looking for."
The drones in New Jersey are strange.
I look to my left and I see two big drones. They were propeller driven, going very slowly.
The story also feels strangely familiar to what we saw in eastern Colorado in 2020.
It's just odd. It kind of reminds me of War of the Worlds.
It's been dark for about a half hour, and we are seeing drones all over the sky. They appear as little twinkling lights. Sometimes there's just one, but in other cases, we've seen clusters of 6 or more.
That's not something this new mom thought she'd ever witness. Drones that have been spotted flying at night in patterns over different areas of rural Colorado and Nebraska. It's been going on for the past several weeks, and no one knows who's operating them or their purpose. The number of drones reported to be seen at a time ranges from 4 to over 12, with wingspans estimated to be 6 feet long, flying anywhere from 100 to 500 feet in the air. Local law enforcement and the FAA are investigating, but as long as drone operators abide by certain rules, there's technically nothing illegal going on.
There is a growing investigation to a mystery that is unfolding in the skies over northeastern Colorado. People have reported seeing massive drones flying over several counties on the eastern plains. So far, no one knows where they're coming from.
We've been flooded with emails and calls from people who say they've seen these drones flying at night, low in a grid pattern. And I talked to one woman today who said curiosity about what these might be has overtaken the area. Riggsdale, Colorado is rural, but this small community in the northeast of the state is where Michelle Wyckoff calls home. She owns the liquor store in town, but lately she's seen visitors she's never seen before. Drones.
They're everywhere, and they're coming from all different directions.
She's not the only one. Since mid-December, residents of northeastern Colorado and Nebraska have been reporting drone sightings every night.
The scale of this, the operation is very unique. To my knowledge, it's the first time something of this scale has happened. So I can understand why people are concerned or curious.
There have been plenty of theories about what they could be.
There's a lot that have to do with the missile silos that are out here and the Air Force and military out here. There's theories that it's government.
Sheriff's departments across the border area of 3 states have been flooded with similar reports since mid-December.
The first time you actually saw one, what did you think?
It was odd. It reminded me of War of the Worlds. The sky is lit up with Christmas lights, basically. There's lights and things flying all over.
We also contacted local law enforcement throughout Colorado and up in Wyoming. They say they don't have any answers either. And we also contacted the FAA, who said they are investigating these sightings and that they can't comment on an ongoing investigation.
You must never be fooled by imitations.
also believe they could have been made by teeth? Frankly, I do.
That's why you think that you would have made away. But we fresh every day, man. And you come. That's why you think that you would have made away. But we fresh every day, man.
The serpent seed, Satan's seed,
two-seed line or dual-seed doctrine is a controversial belief that Eve had sexual relations with Satan, the serpent, in the Garden of Eden, resulting in the birth of Cain, Satan's own son. Those who believe this teaching see it as the common thread that binds together the Holy Bible from beginning to end. Without this knowledge, we believe it would be difficult for one to properly understand history, current events, prophecy, or the true mystery of the battle taking place between good and evil. A couple prominent verses used to support this teaching are as follows. Genesis 3 verse 15 says, "And I will put enmity between thee, the serpent, and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel." That's the first prophecy in the entire Bible. Then if we turn over to Matthew chapter 13, verses 37 through 38, it reads, "He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil." Okay? So, hey, that sounds pretty solid, right? And I believe it is pretty solid. But, many people believe that the serpent seed doctrine, is what they like to call it, is racist. And without a doubt, the so-called serpent seed doctrine, which I call the biblical doctrine, is widely condemned by most in mainstream Christianity. That is, if they've even heard about it. Sadly, it's even rejected by otherwise very astute Bible scholars. Without hesitation, many label it as heresy and, some false teaching, but rarely do they ever offer an alternative interpretation of Genesis 3 verse 15. If they do, they often attribute some vague spiritual meaning to it, like anyone who does bad things is of the serpent, or all evil people are spiritual children of the devil. And that's it. Time to move on. And they don't spend any more time on it. But I think we ought to spend some time on this, don't you? Don't you think the first prophecy of the entire Bible, especially one of this magnitude, deserves a little more attention than bad people are of the serpent or bad people are of the devil? I do. Think about it. Everyone accepts the fact that the woman's seed is a literal family line leading to Christ. They don't question that. But most reject any notion of a literal serpent seed. They say, "Oh no, we can't have that. That is a racist teaching." And you know what? For a little bit, for some time, for several years, I actually questioned this teaching as being a literal biological line from the serpent. But here in this study, I'm going to explain why it must be, okay? Why it must be. So they say, "Oh no, we can't have that. That's a racist teaching." But my friends, not only does Satan love it when we don't expose him for what he has done here in the Garden of Eden, but if we reject a literal interpretation of the serpent seed based off of racial sensitivities, then we must also reject the woman seed for the same reason. Because Jesus came through the racial line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? And if we reject it because of that, that's dangerous, my friends. That would mean all of the genealogies given in the Bible proving that Jesus was the promised seed of the woman are arbitrary and meaningless. Every single one of them. Worse yet, we'd have to charge God with being a racist for choosing one race over another race for the Messiah to be born through. Okay? And I have this scripture to read to those people who question this. Again, I fell into a little bit of a trap for a little while there, and I questioned this teaching. But Jesus says here in Luke chapter 11, verse 52, woe unto you lawyers. These were the scripture lawyers, okay? For you have taken away the key of knowledge. Ye enter not in yourselves, and them that were entering in ye hindered. Okay? So true. People who teach the serpent seed doctrine they are not teaching racism. They are teaching the truth. For there is no other way around it. If the woman's seed is a biological family line, then the serpent seed must also be a biological family line. And to say otherwise would be wholly inconsistent with the prophecy of Genesis 3 verse 15. But someone would say, but doesn't Genesis 4:1 say Cain was Adam's son? And, that they might think, well, it sounds plausible what you're saying, but I just can't accept that. I mean, Genesis 4:1 is very plain. It says that it says that Cain was Adam's son, not Satan's. But let's take a closer look at that. Genesis 4:1 says this, and Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Indeed, this appears to be a huge obstacle. And I would stop here and say, well, that solves it. No more need to be said. Adam is Cain's biological father, plain and simple. But if we keep reading on to Genesis 4 verse 2, we see that Eve continued in labor and gave birth to another son, Abel, meaning that Cain and Abel were twins. Okay? And not to mention there's a lot to be learned, a lot to be analyzed when we look at the Hebrew language here. When we get things into English, sometimes the biases of the translators from Hebrew to English or from Greek to English carries forth. Okay? So if we read on to verse 2 of Genesis 4, it says, and she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Okay? So someone would say, so what if they were twins? I'll tell you what it means. Now pay attention to me closely. It means that there were two conceptions. Not just one, not just the one in Genesis 4:1, but there had to have been another one at some other point. And it just so happens that God mentioned another conception just prior to this in Genesis chapter 3. For immediately after Eve admitted she was beguiled or seduced by the serpent gets cursed, and God says this to him. Genesis 3 verse 15 and 16, one of the verses I already read. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. So look, there are two different seeds mentioned here that require two separate conceptions. Adam was the father of one seed, and Satan the father of the other seed. And before you think this is crazy talk, well, this still happens even to this day. If a woman has intercourse with two men within a certain time frame of each other, she can conceive a child from both of them. The medical term for this is superfecundation. Okay, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Meaning the fertilization of two or more ova from the same cycle by sperm from separate acts of, now check this out, from separate acts of sexual intercourse, which can lead to twin babies from two biological fathers. I was actually quoting there from Wikipedia article titled Superfecundation. Okay. Oftentimes this goes unnoticed, except for when twins are born with two different skin colors, then you know something something had to have happened. It ain't the same. It ain't the same daddy, right? So when we read in Genesis 4:1 that Adam knew his wife Eve, we know that he was the father of one of those boys, but not both. And later on, when we read that Cain offers an offering that was unacceptable to God and kills Abel because his offering was righteous, we now know whose son whose son belongs to who. Cain is Satan's son, and Abel was Adam's. Right? Because did not God tell us there would be enmity between the serpent seed and the woman seed? And then you have, again, that Cain, what does he do right off the bat? He kills Abel. That's the enmity between the two seeds. Okay? Cain was of the serpent seed, and Abel was of the woman's seed. Now, this is important because there are many who believe there must be a literal serpent seed, but they have a hard time believing that Eve had sex with Satan, or Genesis 4:1 is too big of a hurdle for them to jump. They then say that the serpent seed could simply be referring to the hybrid offspring of the fallen angels and humans in Genesis 6, known as the Nephilim, or the giants, or that it began some other time later on after the flood. But those alternate explanations ignore the fact that the enmity between these two seed lines began immediately with Cain and Abel. Okay, it couldn't have started sometime later. Okay, we know that the fallen angels had children; they were other hybrid offsprings, but they were not the actual seed of the serpent. Okay. Then thousands of years later, the Apostle John even confirms to us that Cain's father was Satan when he says this, "Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him?" Why did he do it? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. 1 John chapter 3, verse 12. Okay. Furthermore, Jesus tells us a certain group of scribes and Pharisees, claiming to be Jews, that they are members of an unbroken family line responsible for murdering righteous men going all the way back to Abel. Jesus says this in Matthew 23, verses 29 to 33. "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! Because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore, ye be witnesses unto yourselves that you are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill ye up then the measure of your fathers." Now look at this. "You serpents, you offspring or descendants of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell?" Now, could Jesus have been any more clear as to what line these guys were from? He even tells them to fill ye up then the measure of your fathers. What measure? Well, to bruise the heel of the woman's seed, to call for the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, as foretold of in Genesis 3:15. He continues on. He says, "Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them you shall kill and crucify, and some of them you shall scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city, that upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth." Now check this out. "From the blood of righteous Abel," who killed Abel? Cain. "Unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Barchias, whom you slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation," or this race. Okay? This race of people. What race of people? The race of the serpent. Okay, and I'm not talking about this. When I say the word race, I'm not talking about black people, excuse me, Asian people, white people. I'm not talking about race in the traditional sense of the race. I'm saying race as they are a family line of people. In fact, many people believe they have mixed in with all of the different races. Be that as it may. But so again, who killed Abel? Of course, it was Cain. How many more witnesses do we need testifying that Cain was the beginning of the serpent seed? You know, someone say, well, Pastor Ben, that sounds crazy. Well, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. Adam and Eve standing before God, naked and ashamed, trying to cover their private parts with fig leaves. Then God starts talking about conception, pain in childbirth, two different seeds at enmity with one another, and then Cain murders Abel. It sounds crazy not to believe such a thing happened. All of the pieces of the puzzle seem to be all around us. In the third and fourth chapter of the book of Genesis. Because then we read and to find out that later on in the book of Genesis, that Cain was not in Adam's genealogy. Cain is not in Adam's genealogy. And before I go any further, one might say, well, that all sounds, it sounds interesting. Again, it sounds plausible, but why? I'll say it this way. They'll say, well, Cain is not in Adam's genealogy because he was banished from the family for murdering Abel. And that's not an unreasonable argument. Okay? That's not an unreasonable argument. But considering all the evidence, the only thing that makes sense is that Cain was not a son begat in Adam's own likeness, like Seth was, but rather a son in the image of his father Satan. Additionally, though Cain was the firstborn son, it appears as though he was never considered to be the chosen seed of the woman. Okay? And like I mentioned here, Genesis, if you read Genesis chapter 5, you'll find out that Cain is not in Adam's genealogy. Now, it says here, and Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness after his image and called his name Seth. You see how Adam's genealogy jumps right to Seth. Okay? Adam's descendants jump right to Seth. Okay? Abel's not mentioned because he was killed, and Cain is not mentioned not just because he got banished from the family, but because he never was. He never was of the seed of the woman. He never was Adam's son. And then if you read Genesis 4, verse 25, and it says, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For God said she hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. Okay, and the point of me reading that verse is to point out to you again that Cain was never the appointed seed. He was never of the woman's seed. I mean, did you read that closely? Eve said, God hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel. So Abel then was the original seed of the woman. And of course, Cain would have been the seed of something else, which would have been the seed of the serpent. So, but think of this. If Cain and Abel were both of the woman's seed, then she would have had two promised seeds before Cain murdered Abel, and there would be no serpent seed. That would have contradicted the prophecy of Genesis 3:15, would it not? Okay? Because it's simple. It really is simple. And we can make this more complicated than it is. It's two seed lines, beginning with Cain and Abel. And then Seth, because Abel was killed, Seth was the replacement he was the replacement for the woman's seed. All right. So the parable of the tares really is the key that explains all of this. Okay. If that wasn't enough for you, if you're still hung up on Genesis 4:1, believing it says Adam was Cain's son, then maybe this parable concerning the tares will help you overcome that obstacle. For it reads, "Another parable put he forth unto me, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? Okay, now these tares are weeds that look exactly like wheat, okay? They are called the zawan. Look exactly like wheat. So this enemy came and sowed these tares or these zawan among the wheat and went his way. So in other words, what we got here is Jesus is revealing that Satan was the progenitor of the serpent seed, described here in a different form as tares. But it goes even further than this. Part of the mystery is that they would remain hidden among the wheat, because you couldn't tell them apart, from the time that they were planted until the harvest. Okay? And then the servants say, should we, so you got the good seed equals the woman's seed, the tares equal the serpent seed, and the enemy equals the Satan or the serpent. It's all put together here for us by our Lord Jesus Christ. And then the servants say, should we rip those tares out of the earth? Okay? But Jesus says, Nay, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And then in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather you together first the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. This is important. We are not to do any physical harm to the tares. In doing so, we would greatly damage the wheat at the same time. Why? Why would that damage the wheat? Well, because our people just can't handle this kind of truth. Just look at how they react when we merely teach that there are tares or biological children of Satan on the earth. They call us heretics, racists, and so on. Imagine if you went out and tried to harm these people. That would be really bad, right? Besides, the tares are here, the serpent seed is here to fulfill the negative part of God's plan. And we're to let them fulfill that, all right? Then he continues on. Then Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. Okay? Now, if Jesus' parable had a vague spiritual meaning, like all bad people hidden in the church are, let me just see if I got a couple verses there. Let me see. All right. I'll say this first before I get going here. Now, if Jesus' parable had a vague spiritual meaning, like all bad people hidden in the church are spiritual tares, do you really think the disciples would be asking for clarification on this? No way. Bad people scattered throughout churches or society is no mystery at all. Everyone knows that. If that were the case, the disciples wouldn't be so curious as to its meaning. Would you? If that was it? But they knew there was something deep and profound about the parable of the tares. And it got their attention in a big way. So Jesus is going to plainly tell them who the tares are. Check this out. He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. Did you just read that? Hey, it's not a mystery anymore. Jesus just told his disciples that Satan planted or conceived children on earth. So we can no longer deny who Cain was and what really happened in the Garden of Eden.
Any more criticisms? Yes. So have I, but I keep them to myself. To come out of a state of hibernation is an eerie sensation.
Manly P. Hall wrote this, quote, "The serpent kings," and notice that Mr. Hall capitalized the two words as one would do for a deity or for royalty when he wrote this, "reigned over the earth. The serpent kings reigned over the earth. It was these serpent kings who founded the mystery schools, which later appeared as the Egyptian and Brahmin mysteries. The serpent was their symbol. They were the true sons of light, and from them have descended a long line of adepts and initiates duly tried and proven according to the law," unquote. And the proper term is not Freemason, it's Freemason. It comes from the French, from the Knights Templar, and it literally means the sons of light. Another writer, Wilfred Gregson, informed his readers why Mr. Hall capitalized the two words serpent kings when he wrote, quote, "One symbol of great prominence throughout all ancient civilizations is the snake, or serpent, where it has symbolized divine wisdom," unquote. So Mr. Hall had reason to capitalize the words because he had discovered that the serpent represented divinity. Notice also, folks, that Mr. Gregson, even though he chose not to capitalize the word serpent, confirmed that Mr. Hall's use of the capital letter was correct when he stated that there was a connection between divine wisdom and the serpent. Mr. Hall, a 33rd degree Mason, made the same connection in these comments. Quote, "The serpent is true to the principles of wisdom, for it tempts man to the knowledge of himself," unquote. A serpent is often used by the ancients to symbolize wisdom. The symbol of the serpent has another concealed truth, according to Kenneth Mackenzie, for he identified that truth in this quote when he described a brazen serpent. Quote, "It was a type of mediator and a promise of redemption," unquote. The word brazen, folks, is defined as bold or impudent, and impudent is defined as shamelessly bold or disrespectful. Now you will remember that Lucifer was an anointed cherub in heaven who fell because he sought godly power. The story is covered in Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 through 14 of the Old Testament. Look it up. It says this, quote, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will be like the Most High," unquote. Therefore, it can be safely said that Lucifer would be considered to be shamelessly bold and, of course, disrespectful. It appears that the brazen serpent could be Lucifer. Another author, John Anthony West, wrote a book entitled Serpent in the Sky, in which he also connected the serpent with wisdom, and he wrote this, quote, "The serpent represents intellect, the faculty by which man discriminates. There is a higher and a lower intellect. Thus, symbolically, there is a serpent that crawls, and the higher intellect, that which allows man to know God, the heavenly serpent, the serpent in the sky," unquote. The somewhat veiled worship of this serpent in the sky inside the Masonic lodges was alluded to by another Masonic writer, Kenneth Mackenzie, for in his book entitled The Royal Masonic Cyclopedia, he wrote this, quote, "Among the charges preferred against the Order of Knights Templar, for which Jacques Desmoulins suffered martyrdom, was that of worshipping an idol or image called Baphomet. It has been suggested that Baphomet is none other than the Ancient of Days, or Creator. More cannot be said here without improperly revealing what we, meaning the Masons, are bound to heal, conceal, and never reveal."
equipment.
I thrive off negativity. Anything negative, I'm for it.
Hey, y'all boys ain't trying to get negative, though. Y'all saying they're trying to get negative. Oh, hey, I'm here for the negativity. I ain't gonna lie.
Denzel Washington once warned a comedian in Hollywood to always leave the party before the devil arrives. And more recently, former stars have made it clear that Satan controls Hollywood.
Well, you said that the devil runs Hollywood.
I did say that. Does a deleted scene in the upcoming Gladiator sequel showcase that Denzel is merely part of the machine in Tinseltown?
Ready for this?
We're so decrepit.
Oh my God.
You're not listening, that's what it is. What's the big idea?
Do the same job.
I was a party favor. What does that mean? I was a party favor. I was somebody you could take off the table.
So you're telling me they set children?
I set children on a table.
Like when you go to a birthday party and they have gift bags for everybody that comes that have candy and toys in them, and they set them on the table. So you're telling me at the freak off parties, they put children on the table instead of gift bags, and then people can do what?
Take you off the table and have sex with you, even though it's against the rules to do certain things like anal sex or full house sex. Sometimes that's against the rules. Like for me, that was against the rules, but that didn't matter. That did not matter.
So they come choose you off the table, do whatever they want with you, and then what happens?
And they put you back on the table.
They put you back on the table for somebody else to come choose you? Okay. That's called a party favor effect. That's just one of the little things that go on at the freak off parties with children. Were there animals there?
Goats.
you can see in her eyes the trauma as she's talking about this, being a party favor at these elite parties. Again, she began to be trafficked when she was a little one. She'd been telling her story since before Cassie sued Diddy last October. She'd been out here trying to get people to pay attention to the children part. What I find very interesting, and more proof, if you need some, that the devil is the prince of this world, and that Satanism is real, and that there are conspiracies, and the conspiracies are Luciferian conspiracies, is that every time you hear about satanic ritual abuse, you hear freak off instead. It's like the satanic panic cleanup all over again, calling things a hoax, calling things conspiracy theories, and then saying freak off as opposed to saying rituals, as opposed to saying this is something involving the occult. No matter where you live in your city, you know, I want to charge you believers who are listening. There's some believers who be like, well, you know, we want to hear some more of the word and sing some more songs. Jesus be offense. Okay, we sang a song, but listen, there's some things that you can also do. And you know, I have a lot of strengthening videos to strengthen you. Shout out to Brother Ren, who just reminded me of the video, The Bosses. You know, I have a lot of sermons that can help refuel you who already believe. I'm much more concerned with those who are lost, the lost sheep, those who do not believe, the lost sheep of the tribe, and also with those who are firmly convinced. If you're really convinced of what you believe, to do some things. Find out in your city. You know, it's not hard to do. Every police department receive a nice amount of cases, in some cities more than others, of satanic crimes. Do you hear me? But they are told not to bring this to the media. I'm talking about every day. You know, some of the murders that you hear about, if you're from someplace like, I'm from Detroit, you hear about some murders just about every day on the news or every other day. A large percentage of murders and unsolved murders, especially in missing children, they have linked to satanic groups. There are groups, card-carrying groups. Again, the devil's greatest trick is making people believe he doesn't exist. That's achieved through hiding. So there are groups, satanic group, they're real. Y'all saw a taste of them when the satanic statue was unveiled here in Detroit. There was power behind that. Do you understand that? It's power. But the power is kept through secrecy. So as certain things are starting to come out, you have to lance the boil. The devil don't want the whole disease to come out, but he will lance the boil and let a little puff out, and a few others. The Abercrombie and Fitch guy, he's gonna let a few of them out. He's gonna let a little bit of the poison out. But until the news starts telling you more about bro, when they tell a story about Diddy and they say something about a child, they brush over that like they said something about a puppy dog. Realize where you live.
Did they turn the animals loose on the kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they put you back on the table.
They put you back on the table for somebody else to come choose you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's called a party favor effect. That's just one of the little things that go on at the freak-off parties with children. Were there animals there?
Mm-hmm. Goats.
Did they turn the animals loose on the kids?
Yeah.
And if you got sick and threw up because it was so disgusting, what happened?
You had to eat it.
You had to eat your vomit
Mm-hmm.
if you threw up. That's satanic ritual abuse. Diddy was at this party?
Mm-hmm.
Denzel Washington was at this party?
Yep.
Birdman was at this party?
Yes, he was.
You will definitely be upset. You'll Let me be upset because you will be outstudied, motherfucker. Nigga, start working out, though. Just start, like, get in the gym, though, nigga.
And Young Jock.
Yep.
And you're telling me Denzel was there and it was after 1 o'clock when he supposedly left?
And beanie, socks, and a gold chain.
So you're telling me Denzel Washington was butt naked, he had a beanie on, socks on, and a gold chain, and that's it. In front of children.
Yep.
What's the world coming to?
They belonged to a sinister secret society. Their symbol was a black dragon. Take a good look at these humorless men.
After missing their court dates, Randy and Evie Quaid became fugitives from justice.
The couple, whose behavior has become increasingly erratic in the past few years, asked Canadian officials for asylum.
They petitioned Canada for asylum status, claiming their lives were at imminent risk.
For the past 20 years, my wife Evie and I have been the victims of criminal activities perpetrated by a small network of individuals who are out to destroy us personally, professionally, and financially.
At a press conference, the Quaids attempted to express their concerns, but the reporting was overshadowed by two words in particular.
We believe there are to be a malignant tumor of star whackers.
Star whackers.
Star whackers.
Who are the star whackers?
What's happening? Paranoid?
That is so sad.
I know Randy. She is a raving lunatic.
I think he was drugged. I think he was flipped a Mickey.
Evie, will you shut up for a minute, please? Please.
Oh, it seems like they're either crazy or on drugs.
And Robert Blake was set up.
There's a screw loose there, obviously.
Are either of you mentally unstable, schizophrenic, on drugs?
Do you think we are?
And do you understand how paranoid and delusional your client sounds?
I'm not going to comment.
When the news came out that Randy Quaid was on the run from the law and carrying on about a shadowy cabal of celebrity assassins coming after him, the whole ordeal became reduced to a punchline. Randy was seen as delusional and probably on something, and so the story fizzled out. First, there were the 8 targets he alleged were murdered by the Star Whackers, including David Carradine and Heath Ledger. Did he know something we didn't? More to the point, what about the ring of shady lawyers, accountants, and estate planners that allegedly defrauded him systematically over the course of several years? Randy named several of them during the press conference.
They don't consider Anton LaVey that serious. He's a showman.
Judy and I heard about each other. I don't know if you heard about me or I heard about you.
Right.
But it was a natural relationship because we're both private investigators. I'm in Los Angeles. She's down in Long Beach. And as any good investigator would do, just to learn or hear about satanic cults isn't enough. You've got to jump into it. and delve into it and develop sources and informants, which we both have done. I've been told by a woman who was born into the movement and was in it for more than 15 years, that there are several hundred satanic groups across the nation that practice human and animal sacrifice. In all walks of life, doctors, lawyers, airline pilots, educators. I have been told of one superintendent of schools who's a practicing Satanist.
It wasn't until about 4 years ago that I what we call breakthrough. I began to have these memories. Then I had to start putting my life together. One of the earliest memories that I had was a brick wall, and they took these babies and they nailed them by their heads in a circle on that wall, and then they had 3 crosses, and in the middle cross they had a man hung up there. Now that man had tried to save my twin sister and me, and unfortunately they captured him, and so they hung him up there, and then they hung my twin sister on one cross, and they hung me on the other side on another cross, but they had this pile of bloody baby parts in front of them. And they stood there with my older sister, and they threw those parts at us as we hung up on the wall. They follow a religious calendar, similar to the Christians have a Christian calendar. And at one of their big times is at the crucifixion of Christ. And so what they were doing is they were playing out the crucifixion of Christ.
The younger the soul, the more innocent the soul, because it had less chance to sin. So the more innocent the soul that they sacrifice, the more power in the sacrifice. And that was told to me, again, by a practicing Satanist. When they kill the child and they've brought them to total fear, if they eat the flesh, then they, of course, acquire the child's awareness, his uniqueness, and, his IQ, his courage, his whatever.
Well, the area I'm from, on the North Shore of Chicago, in the probably middle 1800s, I believe that that's about the time when this must have begun in that village, that the Satanists infiltrated my grandfather, who was a very prominent Methodist minister in the Chicago area. I believe that he not only was the Methodist minister, but he was also into satanic beliefs and practices. My father was corporate executive for Chicago Stockyards for 32 years, so he had an easy access to a lot of things there at the stockyards that they could use in these kind of rituals. And we had 2 little grocery stores there with walk-in cold butcher units, and that's where they would hang these bodies, that they would use in the rituals, and they would hang me up there and tell me that this is what would happen to me if I opened my mouth and talked.
They also are very heavy into mind control, and they pass this on from generation to generation. In other words, they'll have a whole family that'll practice Satan worshiping. They take those kids and they raise them. It's like the mind control in Vietnam, but the communists have used in the past.
And then, of course, we've got all our adult survivors who, and there's so many that it's frightening, actually. But they're coming forward and they're saying, somebody stop it.
I was alone in the room at first. Then there were people that came in. They looked like priests. They had black suits on like a priest. They didn't have a white collar. They had black masks on. Then they began to chant. They brought the baby that was in the bucket. They pulled a baby up out of that bucket, and the baby was kind of whimpering like a baby, a newborn baby. They literally took the knife and went from the chest bone down and cut it wide open. They then took everyone in that room, took the guts of the baby, literally reached in, hand in, and took with the baby, still moving, screaming, and apparently the baby then went limp, but they took the living guts of this baby out and ate it. My grandfather was doing the praying, and he began a prayer out of the book. As he held the baby over me, he said, "O Holy One of the world, we offer you this libation for strength and power in your name, Satan. We offer this child and girl as a living sacrifice for your power and glory, and we dedicate this Virgin of God and make her holy by fornication, molestation, incest, cannibalism, and torture." The baby was dead, the girl was dead, and I was just there. And these people were all around me, so I just assumed that I was going to get the same thing.
Bear in mind that they also incinerate. They have the cremators, and they destroy the bodies. There's no evidence.
Part of the proof that happens, wasn't it somebody down in Texas that wasn't Henry Lee Lucas, who actually said that he had gone to schools where they taught him how to kidnap a child?
Who trained you? The hands of death. We were trained in detail of what to do, what to look for. It's just like going out and going to school. It's tight. We learn through books, through actual participation in killings.
Lucas claimed that he was trained to kill as a Satanist. Unless the FBI, law enforcement in general, looks at this seriously and does something about it, it's going to continue to expand. And we're going to have a pyramid effect.
So often when we have tried to get protection from law enforcement, they don't believe us. I'm very careful. I'm very careful where I talk about this, and you know, I screen the people I'm around. They can do anything they want to. That means if they cared to kill you, they wouldn't think anything of it.
Somebody left 13 dead red roses and 13 dead chrysanthemums on my front lawn in Westwood, California.
I received 6 dead lizards and 6 dead birds in a pile on my porch.
I did not wait to see if it was a threat. I left town immediately.
But I did know who had left them there. So I just picked them up and drove up to where they lived and put them back on their porch.
In addition, I developed a considerable amount of information on 18 murders that were committed by the satanic cult people and members of their group. Some were drug-related, some weren't, some were sacrifices. And I have this information in sealed envelopes, in 12 sealed envelopes, and if anything happens to me, these envelopes with the names, dates, places will be mailed to some key people.
I think that we all, as artists, because we're highly sensitive people, and this machine around us, this so-called music industry, is such a demonic thing. It sacrifices people's lives and their essences at the drop of a dime.
with
I just tell them the truth. I sell my soul. Should I just tell them the truth?
You sold it for a double cheeseburger with mac sauce.
With extra onions on it, baby. Don't play.
Yo.
It's time for me to just keep it 100 with y'all. Like, yes, they got me in this shit. I don't know. I can't get out of it. I'm getting too much money. I don't want to get out of it. That's what y'all wanted to hear, now I'm saying it. They talk about stop playing. We just left this Hollywood party, baby. This Balenciaga party. Fuck with Balenciaga. Fuck with Lindsay. Lindsay cool. He cool. No, what do you say? When you get your taxes, bring me Balenciaga. Bring me Balenciaga himself.
Bring me Lewis himself.
It's a bring out the buffalo. Buffalo Wild Wings. Yep. Me and Buffalo Wild Wings. Bring out the buffalo. Yes, I'm with the Illuminati. Yeah.
Multiple screenwriters and producers of Hollywood movies have recently been caught attempting to meet up with minors by vigilante streamers who have set them up. While we look at the propensity of Hollywood to cover up these and other disgusting behaviors, and how some of the very movies that have been written actually push the behavior they are practicing in their lives off screen.
but we have tremendous amounts, millions of gallons of water that's shoved right into the Pacific Ocean where it doesn't make a dent. And all of that water is going to take care of California, and nobody can make a bigger promise than that. You're not going to have to do desalinization plants, which a lot of people want to do, very expensive to do, but it's better than the alternative of no water. So California, vote for Trump, and you're going to have water, and you're going to have growth, and you're going to have prosperity, and all those people that are leaving are going to really come back.
Coming to.
They belonged to a sinister secret society. Their symbol was a black dragon.
These humorless men.
graveyard in need of love or vomit. Blood residue, I want revenue, dreaming. And pump letting you devils trying to take my freedom. It drove me crazy the day I drank my own urine. My own semen with a 9 in my brain. But wait a sec, give me time to explain. What sex with death, indulging these women. Vision my own skeleton, swimming in eternal fire. Broads play with pentagrams in their vagina. Like the Exorcist, then they gave birth to my seeds.
All I gotta tell y'all is I told y'all in 2002, and y'all ain't believe me. I told y'all that nigga was a crap, and y'all ain't believe me. You know what I'm saying? How many accounts gotta come up? Dane, Biggs, R. Kelly, Kiss, Beans. I mean, the list go on. That nigga's a crap. There ain't no hate involved, but you know, you gonna see. He's still biting my step. Jazzo's the best. Secret Society with Jay-Z, man. He's involved, but he's involved with this shit, man. He involved with that play shit. Like, see, people don't understand the science behind Satan, Lucifer, and God. And if you notice, he calls himself Jehovah. Like, I'm saying that simply to say that dude think he knows shit, but he still don't know shit. He can get as many degrees as he want, but it's just like trying to get all degrees you want, but you still got a ceiling. He can't go but so high because the people that he worshiping, that he kissing their ass and letting them fill him up and shit, they don't know shit. They trying to find out every day from us. That's why they follow hip-hop. That's why they follow the blues. That's why they follow soul. That nigga's nothing. That's my son, unfortunately.
Whenever I get in trouble, it's the one I call. It's my strategist right here. It's my brother. Whenever I get in trouble, it's the one I call. It's my strategist right here. It's my brother.
And you rolled the cripple.
Somebody come and look at this. Look at this.
Bad boy family reunion tour. Vibrations. And everyone's gay once in a while.
I'm not gay.
This
How about we do this?
Travis Scott and Ralph is such a vibe. Gay! Hey, yo, Toronto, we come to your city. Atlanta.
2020, but I can't sing 20, 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 but I can't sing 20. Look at this.
Houston, Dallas. Play whatever you want to play, baby. Just here, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shake to that, shake to that. Work, work. Bad boy family intro, survive. Get ready.
Davis and Ross, which they good buddies, okay? They're gay. Who? Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay. Okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Hey, yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Diddy coming to you live from, Bad Boy headquarters on top of the world. As my man Ross said, from my nigga Diddy's view. We was in here one night, chopping it up. Talking about these big plans, talking about, doing a partnership, not just a management, a partnership. And I'm proud to announce that partnership. And he goes by the name of Rose, Ricky Ross, the Teflon Don, and we're gonna get a lot of money this year, we see eye to eye. We got the same taste.
And you old decrepit.
What do I owe the pleasure? The last time we been together? Niggas been too bougie. We forgetting the finer things in life. We ain't even been together. Let's not get out of pocket. Let's check ourselves. The brothers gotta stay together. Niggas can't get too much money. Niggas running for 100 million. I'm not running for 100 million, nigga.
A great example of what an entrepreneur, a CEO, a go-getter, a hustler. You already know. Next level shit. Congratulations on your album.
That's right. Number one.
Better believe it.
Yeah.
Love.
Judge, niggas. 50,000.
50,000.
You gotta show it. All you gotta show is your love. You and your nigga, or your chick, or just cut me off.
You already know. You already know. Most definitely.
We'll give you that.
A motherfucking, a great example of what an entrepreneur, a CEO, a go-getter, a hustler.
Oh, man.
You already know. Next level shit. Congratulations on your album.
That's right. Number one.
Better believe it.
Yeah.
Better believe
Love.
it. Congratulations. That's what we doing right now.
Yeah. That's love.
Love.
That's love.
Fortune Friday.
Yeah, Fortune Friday. You know what I'm saying? My name pulled up. So, yeah, man. Let everything go.
I want you to talk. Don't be scared now. No Diddy, huh? You scared now, huh? I know y'all on them tapes. Freaky. Nobody want to see your Louis outfits and sneakers. Nobody want to see it. Nobody don't care to see the Jets no more. You running out of now.
My brother, Ricky Rose. Ricky Rose, you a hustler, man. Woo! I know you for a long time for helping me with Ciroc, to just like watching your whole get down. You a hustling motherfucker, man. I just want to take my hat off to you, give you your flowers. That's right. Throw a car show festival. Man got horses, giraffes, rhinos. Go ahead, black man. Do your thing. Love, love, love. I support anything Ricky Rose do. Anything he do.
Put Molly all in her champagne. She ain't even know it. I took her home and I enjoyed that. She ain't even know it. Change. Money still a focal, but it's time to the game. Like Puffy did total. Like Red Run in the
New York City, they say it's sold out. They told me this is sold out. I called Daddy. He said, Kevin, where you at?
Yeah. And when I'm in Miami, I need anything. And I mean anything. We can't even discuss it. The things that this man is capable of bringing to you. But believe me, he has Miami on lock. But this is the love affair, baby. It's
on bed so she could go get her money.
Okay, the slippery soap. The slippery soap?
Yep, slippery soap.
Okay, now the slippery soap. The reason why y'all can't with us is because we really do this shit.
No, hands-on.
We actually hands-on. We wash cars. I used to be a free soap for nothing, man. Those cars is dirty. It's like a strike. It's like...
They all gay.
No underwear, nigga. My jeans tight fitting too, nigga. Jay-Z, what up, nigga?
I know a lot of personal shit about Jay because he used to talk to a couple of females around in my area. And one of those females was young. Now, like I said before, I did not know in 1999, Jay was no fucking 30 years old. I thought he may have been like 21, 22. Because the little girl was about 16 or 17, and she was 17.
I understand, huh? I like when you like this, Daddy.
Where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping for shit. I like that.
I'm in.
Where I look back on where I became.
Did you miss me though? For real, because I'm saying it seems like a thing.
I miss
this birthday party,
folks, man.
Man, but I'm talking about for your birthday.
Huh?
I want you to party with me for your birthday, man.
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party. You know what I'm saying?
You
know what I'm saying? Yo, okay. So check this out. It's me, Tyrese, Ray J, and F. Gary Gray. You know, I'm a type of nigga, I like variety, man. I like people that's unpredictable. You know what I'm saying? I like different personalities. So I was like, I never knew they would become what they are today. But you know what I'm saying? But like, you know, that sounded like the type of night I want to have in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? So Tyrese kept on talking.
This is a Floyd fight, right?
Yeah. And Tyrese keep on talking about like how you got to get back for church. And we just like, yo, the night ain't start. You got to get back for church. We in motherfucking Vegas, nigga. Like, you can go to church next week. You know what I'm saying? Sending your thing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't never we in Vegas. Don't be bringing God into the city. Eyes, brother. Eyes. I understand, huh?
he's saying is like fruity.
Hey, yo, Rastafari. Hey, yo. Don't do that. That's why
It's an exciting life. Maybe. But I'm getting tired of this way of living, though. One day soon, I'll give it up. Well, now, that's quite an idea. But why are you feeling like that, though? Killers are always killed. The more you kill, the more that you're afraid to die.
Oh my God.
Go ahead. No, bro.
Kill him.
No. Come tell the story. Bro, we're intoxicated.
Listen.
Oh, bro, we helping me build that beautiful, nice guy, Rastafari brand of yours, huh? I see you, man.
I'm walking in at that hallway right there.
Work hard. Yeah, and you know, I mean, I respect that. I don't never hit him with no, nothing. I don't even think of no other man. Besides, if I'm thinking about another man, I'm thinking about uplifted. I'm not thinking about all that. All them gnats, they can't really touch me. Y'all, at the end of the day, y'all see and y'all know what it is. The track record. Y'all know the business acumen. Y'all know the community service. Y'all know what I'm about. And when he does that, it's like funny to me. I don't really take it personal. I know he has a different sense of humor, and he's just not in my life. We don't have to never cross paths, and I will never say nothing negative about him, because that's just not me.
It feels like something must have happened though that we just don't know about behind the scenes.
He loves me.
That maybe a situation, a deal went bad.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Sometimes people that feel like they don't like you and they act like that, they really love you. Like I'm not like just saying it to say it, But I mean, it's something about me that has them on me all the time. And I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah, I love this drink. I like when you like this, Daddy. Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping for shit. I like that.
I've been practicing. I got
yeah.
Money right here.
Money's good. Money's good. This is good money right here.
Good money right here, man. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah.
Make me a happy man. That's real. That's new. When you say a happy man, you know what I'm saying? Word up.
Hey yo, if you know better, you do better. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you, my brother.
I'm trying to give birth to the next era of billionaires.
You know what I'm saying, Joe? You see that remote money over there? You see that remote money over there, man? You know what I'm saying? We outside, man.
Johnson was poisoned by a jealous husband and died at just 27 years old. Since Robert Johnson, the devil has continued his relationship with music, but no Faustian bargains like that of Paganini or Robert Johnson have been struck, at least not that we know of.
This is my first time back in America for the past 3-4 months. I had to get up out this motherfucker for a second. Because I love the game so much. And I'm so passionate about it that I just can't take this shit sometimes. And if they take everything away from me, it wouldn't fucking matter. Artists be too concerned about their well-being sometimes. Artists be too scared to stand up for something. They scared to lose their fucking house. Or they scared to lose their record deal. I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. This it came with a few toys like a Happy Meal. I'm spaced out, dog. I be on that moon talk. I wonder if God asked Mike how to moonwalk. You know, to entertain the angels. Adriana for Giselle. Let's just
And I'm Christian, and I feel like I got the best taste on the planet. So that's Jesus. I'm Jesus gang.
Okay.
But the Jewish people and the Muslims are all sons of Abraham also. For the Jewish people, what I'm doing is I'm me too in the Jewish culture. I'm saying y'all got to stand up and admit to what y'all been doing. And y'all just got away with it for so long that y'all don't even realize what y'all doing. And it's like, y'all can't fuck with me either because y'all behind that gated fence. Y'all soft. Y'all hands got soft. You ain't out here getting beat up every day like me. You ain't out here getting called crazy every day like me. You ain't out here getting your family snatched like me. You ain't out here half your culture getting aborted like me. You ain't out here getting outraged with false narratives like BLM like me. So for all the Jewish media, y'all want to sit down and have a conversation with me? Then let's have a conversation. But you ain't gonna send Harley Pasternak, Puff Daddy, Meek Mills, Kim Kardashian, none of the usual suspects and get me to stop talking. You're going to have to take my life. I don't care if you Black Mirror me. I don't care if you do some of the alternative, what the thing was, show me talking, saying somebody and say, I don't care if you have me fucking goat on camera. I don't care if you have me fucking goat on camera. I don't care if you have me fucking goat on camera. I don't care if you have me fucking a goat on camera.
So then I told Dave, I said, hey man, I'm going to give Chris a goat at the end of the show. He said, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean what I mean? I'm going to go get a goat.
Man, what's happening? Still has gold chains on. Like, what the is going on? Yeah, I've been working all my life. This motherfucker is on stage at Madison Square Garden. Like, yeah.
Dirty dish, now me and God is drink like Big and J and Nas, the greatest capable. The lion and the lamb will bow down to the goat.
I don't respect those people. I don't care about that. I'm, you know, I told you I had connections. Nobody was gonna say nothing to me.
I get it. And it made me think when you just said kind of the comment about some of the people that we've known in the industry and what they might have to do to get to the top. Can you give me
all of them? All of them. You name your biggest black actors, you name your biggest white actors, you name your biggest female Latino actresses, they all have to do it.
so Mr. Anyman gets his chance to become a craftsman. But it isn't as easy as it looks.
Remind me to kill you later. I will kill you later.
Oh my God, yo.
I think that's the worst part of getting decrepit.
I believe that women are targeted for the transhuman Metropolis ritual because of their higher sensibilities. Being more sensitive also simultaneously marks them by nefarious beings as being more susceptible to spiritual influence. Notorious doctors such as Dr. Mengele and other modern-day pioneers of MK understood that hypnosis is in essence actually a spiritual practice. The U.S. government learned from the scientists that were brought over to be a part of what would later become NASA how to better execute mind control. The excuse that they used for wanting to better learn how to use this nefarious technology was the excuse that they usually use. Oh, it's for national security and to help further the promotion of world peace through covert preventative preemptive operations and advanced forms of psychological warfare. The 1927 movie Metropolis is an artistic interpretation of the process. Interestingly enough, it comes from a German director, Fritz Lang. The movie presents to us Maria, who is the central focal point of the film, and she is played by Bridget Helm. The film gives us an artistic interpretation of mind control and possession. I must take this time to note that both the characters named Maria and the actress named Brigitte are notable names of prominent ancient Queen Mother Goddess figures of Roman goddess and Germanic mythology. The silent film is often cited in modern works of art and entertainment spanning across every genre. Despite the age of the film, many artists and critics of arts and entertainment note the depth of its symbolism. Few, however, relate it to MK or to the Queen of Heaven, who is the whore that rides the beast in the book of Revelations. But there's a reason why you see everyone from Beyonce to Whitney Houston paying homage to this film with their own versions of the costume and set. The costume and set was quite an ambitious undertaking for a filmmaker at that time. The central character Maria undergoes a transformation process that is both part science fiction and part satanic magic. The director Fritz Lang is obviously a Brotherhood member who took his clandestine studies of the occult to the silver screen. He tells us the tale of the blurred lines between science and witchcraft, the degradation, corruption and enslavement of society through the corruption of the woman, who is its foundational nurturer and anchor. A one of one amongst God's creations. A one of one amongst God's creations. And the film also gives us evidence that the same mind control programming that was done then is not much different than the mind control programming that we see exhibited by our entertainers today. In the Bodyguard movie, Whitney Houston goes so far as to not only call herself the Queen of the Night, which is what the British Museum officially named the Burney Relief, which is a stela or a relief of the Queen Mother Goddess of Babylon in her original inhuman form. I have a sinking suspicion that Whitney probably did not study ancient Mesopotamia or Sumer, nor its queens, but that she was, by her handlers, prodded into using that name, maybe by Clive himself, for the title of her album, and for using that imagery within the movie The Bodyguard, and of course also using that imagery within the video for the title song of her album Queen of the Night. As a side note, in the movie The Mephisto Waltz starring Alan Alda, there's a bathtub ritual scene that brings to mind both the passing of Whitney and of her daughter, Bobby Whitney. Both the Mephisto Waltz movie and Fritz Lang's Metropolis movie depict high society's use of ancient witchcraft behind closed doors, and it gives us a glimpse into the rituals we still see in use today. In my opinion, we're still seeing the bathtub deaths or the drowning ritual, and we're still seeing the robotic mind control spell being placed upon entertainers, much like we saw in the film Metropolis, the spell that was placed upon Maria, scientifically, ritualistically. In the movie Metropolis, the ritual that Maria undergoes is a type of transhumanist rebirthing. It plays off of the Freemasonic alchemical idea of turning man into God rather than turning base metals into gold. But when they tell you they want to turn you into God, what they really want to do is turn your vessel into a house for a spirit. The spirit will allow for you to have what appears to be powers just long enough to goad you into making an agreement for it to stay. The movie hints to us that this changing of man into God will be achieved through ritual. It will be achieved through scientific advancements, and it will be achieved through a return to the ancient magic by way of New Age. The director shows us a world behind closed doors where all three magic, science, and ritual are combined as one. This is like the three pillars combining as one. The logic of the king, the sensitivity of the queen, or the magic of the queen, and the ritual practices of the priest. The elite understand that in ancient times it took these three in order to subdue and subjugate their plebeian royal subjects over the course of the history of human royalty. I believe that entertainers who have been propelled to the top of their craft by way of the brotherhood have an obligation. Their obligation is to help to spread the message of Luciferian philosophers like Aleister Crowley, and to help keep the message, the Luciferian message, within works like Metropolis alive in the collective public subconscious. I also believe that part of the trauma that the entertainers have to themselves endure involves them going through the Metropolis ritual in some way, shape, or form. A rebirthing has to happen for each one. Their old tower has to die so that the new tower will be reborn. Their old self has to die so that their new self will be reborn. Humiliation rituals help to break the tower of one's ego and are a pledge of submission to the brotherhood. They also serve as convenient forms of blackmail to use against anyone who has any big ideas of trying to double-cross the group. Their philosophy is that no one individual is above the group. Sometimes repercussions can mean humiliation. Sometimes it can mean loss in remuneration. And sometimes it can mean elimination. So the snake will often eat parts of its tail in order to move its agenda forward. The proverbial snake eating its tail, or the Ouroboros, is symbolic of many things, but one of them is that this group is willing to sacrifice its own members aka its own flesh, in order to move the agenda forward. The Ouroboros also serves as a reminder and a recognition of the fact that even the devil knows that his house will not be able to stand. It is a doomed system that is doomed to fail. Even the wicked are made for the day of judgment, and they take out one another. They only want to take as many people down with them as possible, and in the process to take over as many people as they are able to. They will use a variety of means in order to accomplish this goal, which can be symbolized by the Metropolis ritual itself. Their goal is to turn everyone into mindless robotic devils who will be under the control of the god of this world called Satan, Lucifer, and the devil.
And you old decrepit.
It was so decrepit.
Christianity is the most mocked religion.
Why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones? They're not military drones. Why is it a classified briefing on the Capitol?
I don't. I'd have to sharing as much information as we can here. I don't have. But or not, I can assure you though that again, we are sharing as much information as we can based on what we know.
November, December, now January.
reason to carry your tear around.
Peace.